Hey there, it's Kathleen Jasper, and I get this question a lot. What is the difference between the Praxis I and the Praxis II? So we're going to talk about it. Let's get started. All right, so it can be very confusing when you're looking at which Praxis exams you have to take. There's all these different ones, and there's all these different numbers. Some call it the Praxis I and the Praxis II, or the actual name of the exam, and it can be confusing. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the difference between the Praxis I and the Praxis II. The Praxis I is the Praxis Core. It is that basic skills exam that you are required to take. And the reason why many people call it the Praxis I is because traditionally, on a normal certification track, meaning if you were going through the College of Education and getting a degree in education, you would take the Praxis I first, which is the Praxis Core. Usually that test kind of governs whether or not you can get into the College of Education program as a major, not in all universities, but in some. So, you start off in your 4-year degree and you're taking some of those intro classes. And then around your second year, you declare your major. And then if you want to move into the College of Education for that major, you have to take and pass the Praxis I. Not every college does that, but many do. Okay, so that's why it's been dubbed the Praxis I. The Praxis II is your subject area exam, meaning the test that you take for the content and grade level you want to teach. So for example, if you want to be an elementary ed teacher, you will have to take one of the many elementary ed exams. Let's just say the 5001. Okay, that is for elementary education, grades K through 6. So if you want to teach at the elementary school for those grades, you take that subject area exam. If you want to be a middle school math teacher, then you take the Praxis Middle School Math exam. If you want to be a high school English teacher, you take that exam. That's why they call them subject area exams. And they have been called the Praxis II because in a traditional sense, you would take that test second after you took the Praxis Core and once you are in the College of Education. Well, why did it change? Well, certification changed. We have a lot of people who are what I was, a career changer, meaning I got my degree in English, my undergraduate degree in English, and I didn't go through the College of Education. But in most states, you can teach if you have a bachelor's, and that bachelor's can be in anything, any 4-year degree. But you then have to take some supplemental classes to kind of get you to that point where you have some of those teaching credentials that you need. But the Praxis II often is the first test we take, because if we are trying to get hired in a school, maybe we have a temporary certificate. Sometimes it's called eligibility letter, whatever it is, meaning I have a bachelor's degree and now I can start to apply for jobs. And if I get a job, I can work on my certification while I am in that job. So the way that I did it was an alternative certification route, meaning I applied for my temporary, they don't call it temporary teaching certificate anymore in Florida. They call it letter of eligibility. But regardless, temporarily, I am allowed to teach with my bachelor's, but I have to work towards that full certification within 3 years. And so I actually took my subject area exam first because the principal whom I was working for was looking for a biology teacher. So I had to take and pass the biology exam. Once I passed that, he hired me. And then I went back in and took my basic skills test. In Florida, it's a different test, but for you, if you're in a state that uses Praxis, perhaps you take your subject area exam first. So let's say you want to get hired at the local elementary school. You have your 4-year degree, you've gone through the district, you've applied and all of that, you've gotten your eligibility letter, and now you get to teach while you work on your certification. Well, you might go in and apply, and the principal might say, I need you to take and pass that elementary certification exam first before I can hire you. So you go in, you take and pass the elementary ed subject area exam. That's what's called the Praxis II. And then you get hired and then you take the Praxis Core. So that is why they are called the Praxis I and Praxis II. And that is also why those names have kind of gone away a little bit. And we talk about Praxis I as the Praxis Core and Praxis II as the subject area exam. Now, you will also probably have to take the Principles of Learning and Teaching, and that's a professional education exam. It goes over things like classroom management, laws that govern education, reading in the content area, developmental things for students. It's kind of got all that information that kind of governs the profession of teaching. So typically, if you are taking these exams, you have to take 3. Some people have to take more if you're getting a specialized certification. Like if you're trying to be a reading teacher, you might have to take an additional test. Or if you're trying to be a special education teacher, you might have to take an additional test. But typically, it's 3 exams. It's the Praxis Core, also called the Praxis I, your subject area exam, the exam that governs the subject area and grade level that you're trying to teach. That's typically called the Praxis II. And then the third exam is the Praxis Principles of Learning and Teaching. Now, not all states use the Praxis. Some states use their own exams or different exams from a different testing companies. I focus on the Praxis exams, and that's why I'm talking about it today. But most states have a similar progression where you take your subject area exam and then you can get hired and then you work on those other exams later. Now, if you're in the College of Education, you're going to take these exams in that order: Praxis I, Praxis II, and then the PLT. It just depends on where you're coming through in certification. Lots of people are career changers and they come into the certification process in an alternative route. And that's why naming them the Praxis I and the Praxis II really isn't the best idea, because it doesn't really work that way anymore. So I hope that clears things up for you regarding the Praxis I versus the Praxis II. Remember, I have tons of resources for all of these exams. If you just go to my website, KathleenJasper.com, I have free stuff. I have paid stuff on this YouTube channel. I have tons of stuff for you here that you can use to pass your tests. And I wish you luck in your certification journey. And thank you so much for being a part of this community. Have a great day.